I'm a feminist, but today I was on an important phone call about feminist activism while idly Googling Harry Styles' new haircut. Now, what happened was, and I think it's important that you understand the context, I have ADHD, so I sort of, I just end up doing two things at once. I need to do something with my hands. And it wasn't my fault that something popped up on my computer that said, Harry Styles has a buzz cut. And... And I couldn't see it. I don't think it's true. I think someone was just clickbaiting me, just going, come on, come in.
Is that clickbait?
But then, apparently. And then I just sort of started looking at all his haircuts, and he's had some excellent ones, I will say.
Right.
Now, I feel embarrassed because I used to say that Harry Styles, I used to be like, how could anyone fancy Harry Styles? Like any grown-up person, obviously, teenage girls and stuff. But when women would say they fancy Harry Styles, I was like, that teenage boy off X Factor. He's won me over, though.
Oh, has he?
Oh, he's grown up and won me over.
I would not recognise Harry Styles if he fell in my lap. Honestly, I've got no idea who he is. Well, I know the name, but I wouldn't recognise him. If he falls in your lap... I'd recognise Daz Parker, but I wouldn't recognise...
If he falls in your lap, I don't push him off. Now... but yeah, I did. I was idly, and I thought, well, this isn't right. As I was looking at all his hairstyles, I was thinking, this isn't right. But at the same time, I couldn't stop myself. Once you've started...
he a bit feminist, though? Wouldn't he say isn't it kind of like...
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you're looking at Andrew Tate.
Can you imagine if I was on a feminist phone call while Googling Andrew Tate's haircut?
Any bald?
Jordan Peterson's pecs. Ugh. Can you imagine men's rights activist manicures? Ugh. No, he's a feminist boy. He's a feminist young man. Yeah, Harry Styles. Listen, there are worse haircuts to be Googling. But
yeah. I'm a feminist, and I know I should support women in powerful positions.
Oh, I know where this is going.
But I fucking hate Suella Braverman.
Honestly, if she became Prime Minister of this country, which I think is what she's going for, she's becoming so controversial, she's trying to get herself fired so she can be the people's princess. And by people, I do mean the worst, the angriest, most frightened...
calling her your princess.
Poisonous people and who've had I don't know what's going on in their heads. And then she's going to go, all of them are too soft.
Yeah.
I will take all of these people who, with all their lifestyle choices, and if you're listening abroad, you won't have heard this, but our Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, said that being homeless was a lifestyle choice and homeless people shouldn't be allowed tents. And my lifestyle choice is calling her a cunt. Now, what you don't know is last night I did an I'm a Feminist part, which was I'm a Feminist part.
You hate Suella Braverman.
I did exactly that joke last night, so it's a double. So if you're listening at home and you've heard me say that before, it wasn't my fault. I'm a feminist, but there's a tap dancer called Bailey Graham on the internet who's only 22, but when he shuffles, I sometimes feel so aroused that I insist he's a feminist too. Like I couldn't feel so attracted to a man who didn't care about women's rights.
Do you say tap dancer?
Yeah. He's so sexy when he tap dances. Whatever you're imagining, it's not that. He's the sexiest tap dancer in the world. It's like if Harry Styles and Gene Kelly had a baby.
Now, Gene Kelly I can get on board with.
Well, then you are going to fucking love Bailey Graham.
So I didn't know people were famous tap dancers anymore.
No, well, you can be a famous anything on TikTok now.
Oh, right.
And he did America's Got Talent and stuff like that. He is... Does anyone else know? Someone else is laughing like they know. Does anyone else know Bailey Graham? Thank you. Someone is laughing like they know. Or you're just laughing at the idea of me fancying a tap dancer. Honestly, when you see him... But he's only 22. I feel so guilty about objectifying the poor young man. But he was in school uniform a few years ago. It's not right. But...
Oh, I thought you meant when he tap dances.
What I tell him... Myself.
What you tell him?
I don't tell him anything.
On TikTok.
What I tell myself is, well, obviously he's a feminist because I couldn't be attracted to anyone that much if they weren't a feminist.
A boy's feminist at 22?
He is. I sense it.
He is.
You look at him tap dancing and you will sense a feminism.
Yeah.
He just looks like he's a good guy. Listen, I'm not saying he's not putting it about.
That is something that's been said about many a wrong-un before.
Bailey Graham tap dancer to the stars is not a wrong one. I will not have it. I
don't know why I'm standing against this. I don't even know who the lad is. I've got no idea.
Everyone has going,
he can't be a feminist, but he may well be.
I really believe he is. It's not going to come up, guys. Stop worrying about me having sex with a 22-year-old tap dancer. He is not going to offer. I'm not going to meet him. If I do meet him, I'll just be a bit like, oh, I love your dancing. And he'll be like, you remind me of my mum.
That works for some men.
It's true. Milk porn. Do you know milk porn is apparently the top porn? Do you think I've got a shot with Bailey Graham? That's really cheered me up.
I am a feminist, but I know this is not very feminist because they're not feminist in any way, but I'm absolutely addicted to all the Real Housewives. I'm being judged, silently judged by this entire crowd. I'm obsessed with them.
Which one is your favourite?
All of them.
Really?
All, New Jersey, New York, Orange County, Potomac, you name it. Fucking obsessed.
Name.
I love the way everyone's just muttering, going, I don't know what she's talking about.
Name a character.
From a character?
That's your favourite. Who's your favourite?
They're real people.
But who's your favourite Real Housewife?
My favourite Real Housewife? Well, they're all... Lisa. Which one? From Salt Lake City?
Well, she really does know.
Which one? Oh, Lisa Vanderpump. No, not Lisa Vanderpump.
If you were asked to do Real Housewives,
I could answer any question. You could ask me any question about Real Housewives.
If you were asked to do it, would you?
No, because it would be shit. They're all there going, look at all the money I've got. No one wants to see me pushing a trolley round Lidl. Just going, my life's shit. You can film this if you want. It's like, it's not really the escapism we were hoping for, to be honest with you.
I'm a feminist, but I recently read this sentence in a book. Christabel Pankhurst's sister once noted, many suffragists spend more money on clothes than they can comfortably afford, rather than run the risk of being considered outre and doing harm to the cause. And I thought, I've never related to a sentence more. If I time travelled, I would want to be the best put together suffragette. And I just started reading about it in this book. The avoidance of sartorial affront worked. So the avoidance of sartorial affront means there was a period where like suffragettes at the time and suffragists were seen as sort of, not caring about their clothes and just, being frontline feminists. And then a bunch of them went, what if we dressed really nicely to try and buck that stereotype? And this is the rest of the thing. The avoidance of sartorial affront worked. Membership numbers grew, and it became fashionable to identify with the struggle for the vote, even if only by wearing a small piece of jewellery picked out in semi-pressured coloured stones or enamel. I have never heard anything more period, I'm a feminist but, than these women who got us the fucking vote going, what are you wearing? but no. Parliament Square tomorrow, marching, what are you wearing?
Coordinating.
I've got a lovely bracelet that I think is going to work really well for the cause.
Let's all wear bustles. Isn't that what they wore? Bustles? No?
Well, yeah, it went on for 6 decades, so there was a period of bustles, but then part of it was really getting rid of the bustles and getting bikes.
Yeah.
Live from Soho Theatre in London, the Spontaneity Shop presents The Guilty Feminist with me, Deborah Francis-White, guest co-host Esther Manito, and our very special guest, Cheka, talking about Milestones. Hello, and welcome. Thank you so much for coming out on a Friday night, especially as this show has only been on sale for a few days. It was meant to happen last week, but I got COVID on the Wednesday. It's all right. I'm not... In fact, if anything, I'm the safest person in the room because I've just had it, so I definitely don't have it now. I could lick any of you with good conscience, and might. The night is still young. But we had 4 shows on last week. Last week's shows were sold out, and this week's shows, people just found out about them, and some people transferred over. So if you did transfer over, thank you. Just give us a cheer if you transferred over. Woo! Excellent. So you were meant to come last week. And did you have something on tonight you had to cancel?
No, I wish I could say yes, but I actually had it.
You were just... Your social calendar was tumbleweed. You thought, yeah, look, any night, honestly, any night. Any night for feminism. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else? Did anyone cancel anything to be here tonight? Just by comparison, last night, a woman cancelled going to her own husband's gig. And we thought that was incredibly feminist, but she said he's in a big band. And at first I thought she meant like U2 or something, but she didn't. She meant like with trombones. And so then I understood why she wanted to miss it. And feminism was more of an excuse than anything, I think. And just give us a cheer if you just heard it was on this week and you thought, oh, I'll just come to it. Thank you. How did you hear? This has turned into market research, isn't it? Did you hear through the Soho Theatre website? Give us a call. Oh, for Radio 4. Who said it on Radio 4? Radio 4 said it today. That's nice of them. I didn't know that, and I didn't ask them to. So that was lovely. That was lovely. So thank you so much for coming out. I really, really appreciate that because it's such short notice. Tonight, we're going to be talking about milestones in our lives and how sometimes there's an imposition of you're 30 now, or you're 40 now, you're married now, you've got a baby now, or you've left uni, you've got a job, you must be like this. And we're thinking about that through a feminist lens of the things that we assume about ourselves or the things that become freeing, where you think, fuck it, I don't have to be hot anymore, or whatever it is. So I've not reached that milestone yet, obviously. Consistently worried about being hot. But is it working? Obviously not for people in the front row, because people in the front row, this stage is really mega raised, which it normally isn't. It's normally on the ground, and then normally you're up like this. Well, I know the people in the front row and the second row. I know what the view you have. It's the same view I have when I accidentally open my camera phone the wrong way around. I go, oh my God! I have like 12 chins for you. That's not real. That's shadow. That's lighting. I am 45% more attractive than you think I am, at least. You people up there at the top, I'm about 25% less attractive than you think, because you've got the flattering selfie angle. You know, about that, you're the only people getting an accurate view of how hot I am. This show is called The Guilty Feminist. So who has a feminist job? Who believes they've got a feminist job? Just give us a cheer. I know more people have a feminist job because I know my audience. My audience is three sorts of people. One, people with it's obviously feminist jobs like working with refugees or literacy. Two, people who like work to make the world a better place in general, like the NHS or climate change. And three, people who are doing PhDs on Virginia Woolf. Just give us a cheer if you're doing a PhD on Virginia Woolf. There's always got to be somebody. Anyone doing a PhD? Yes, people that do PhDs put their hands up and they didn't cheer. They were just like, let's keep it orderly. Give us a cheer if you're doing a PhD. I mean, my audience is so clever that if we just locked the doors on any given audience for 24 hours and didn't let you out, which we won't because we'd be charged overtime, we could fix 25% of the world's problems, I reckon. What's your PhD on?
I finished.
You finished. You're already a doctor. Sorry, doctor. Yes. What's your PhD? What was it on?
It was on resisting gentrification in São Paulo.
Resisting gentrification in São Paulo.
Yeah.
See? I'm not wrong. Am I wrong? I'm not wrong. Anyone? Who else was doing a PhD? Who said woo? Yes, you?
I'm doing it urban farming.
Urban farming.
Yeah.
Oh, so farming in cities?
Basically.
How does that work?
You farm it in cities.
You farm in a city. But, like, what kind of farm? Can I have a farm on the roof? I've got a flat roof. We want to put sedum up there. Sure. Can I have a little farm? What kind of farm?
I know. Whatever else.
Pineapples?
Probably not.
Probably not in London. No. Okay. What would I go for? Watercress.
Anything that might grow elsewhere.
Anything that might grow elsewhere. Okay. All right. Well, I need more advice, and you're the expert.
I haven't finished yet.
Okay. He's working on it. Working on it. Sorry, I don't mean to pronoun you. Can I say he's working on it? Excellent. All right. Well, when you know what will grow on my roof in Camden Town year round, it's a flat roof. We're going to put some sedum up there. If you can think of anything we can farm. Cows? Probably unethical to farm cows anyway, because of all of the reasons. So the cows won't be happy. Thank you. The council. Oh. The council. No. Didn't know there was a council, but now you say it makes sense. The life would be happier for cows if they did have their own council. Who else is doing a PhD? Someone else? Who's got one already? Have you already got one? Or you've done it? Already got one. She's already got one. What is it about? Solar panels, saving the world, saving the world, saving the world. Thank you very much. There'll be more PhDs in here. Can you see the quality of my audiences? Jimmy Carr could play Wembley fucking Stadium. He couldn't hit one person with a tennis ball that gave a fuck about anyone. That might be... Listen, that's prejudice on my part. And I don't care. I'm sure I'm wrong, still don't care. He's not bothered. Why should I be? Who thinks they've got an unfeminist job? Give us a cheer now. What's your unfeminist job?
In IT.
IT. Why is it unfeminist? Because it is. Patriarchal. It's just a patriarchal organisation. It's not doing any good in the world. Do you do... And you were born in India. What? So you think you're living up to a stereotype by being in IT?
I was, and then I moved out.
And then you moved out? Oh, right, you were...
It's still there everywhere.
Okay, you left India to get away from IT and it followed you. Is that what you're saying? I'm not saying this, guys. She's saying it. This is the kind of thing that a comedian in the comedy store would be saying to some... I'm not doing any of this. I'm asking questions and I'm getting unfeminist answers and I feel it reflects poorly on me. Listen, does anyone do an unfeminist job but does stealth feminism within it? Because this is what I've discovered, is some people in the most obvious feminist jobs, they are actually, sort of like, yes, I'm obviously in a feminist job. But sometimes the people are in the most unfeminist industries just get so sick of it that they just start moving the furniture. Has anyone done any stealth Trojan horse feminism recently? Yes? What's yours?
I'm a stunt woman.
A stunt woman? That's got to be feminist. Fuck off. That's amazing. Tell me everything.
Okay, so a stunt woman.
Yes.
Film industry, which is not feminist.
Film industry, not feminist, yes.
But
Stunt
I
woman.
sometimes change things around and manipulate the director a little bit.
So you change things around and manipulate the director a little bit.
A little bit.
In what way? So you,
Subtle ways.
subtle ways. So the director says, could you get on this motorbike and get over the bus?
No, the director says, I want a guy to do this, this and that. And I go, have you thought about maybe a woman doing that?
Oh, so they want a male stuntman and you say, no.
Yeah.
I think what you should have there is a female
Yeah.
stunt person, artist. What do you call yourself?
A stunt performer.
Stunt performer. So you say, actually, it would be really good to have a woman in that role.
Yeah.
And so the way you manipulate the director is by completely just contradicting what they've said. I like that a lot. Although, isn't it, I was just going to say, is it not very dangerous? Should we not be, in fact, encouraging more men into stunt artistry? Because I don't know how many women we can afford to lose. I'm sure you do it very safely, though. I'm sure you do it very safely. If you've just arrived, we've just met a stunt woman, and the rest of the show will be interviewing her. That's incredible. Tell me a stunt you've done.
Yeah, okay, so I got a little bit on fire the other day.
Got a little bit on fire the other day. And you thought your week at the office was bad. At some point, we want to talk to you on stage. Just email us, guiltyfeminist@gmail.com, because I'd like to hear more about being a stunt woman and the stunt women in the industry. We could have a whole episode on it. We could do it at the BFI. Are you on for that?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Daz Parker.
Daz Parker, of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Well, listen, big round of applause for Daz Parker. Are we ready to start the show? Then please, welcome to the stage my incredible co-host for this evening. It's the one, the only, the Esther, Manito! A little bit on fire.
Love that. Just a little bit on fire.
Amazing.
That needs to be an excuse for everything.
I was a little
Why were
bit
you
on
late to
fire.
this party? I was a little bit on fire.
Wow. Oh, Daz Parker, I know we're going to have you on, so I'm but-
Where is Daz Parker?
Well, I don't know. Invisible, and that's one of her stars. Daz Parker, can you tell us a celebrity you've stunted for?
She's gone.
We were just talking about Sigourney Weaver backstage. Oh my
Back
God! We were just talking. Were we just talking about
literally
Sigourney
just
Weaver?
talking about Sigourney
we were
Weaver.
just talking about Sigourney Weaver. We were just talking about Sigourney. Were we not just talking about
Where
Sigourney
is
Weaver?
she?
Daz Parker. This is just wonderful stuff.
Oh, she's up there.
Oh, Daz, I can't see her. Where's Daz? Daz Parker, we've got to have you on the show. This is, I mean, God. Well, look, we'll have you on the show in January, February next year, which is our next block of shows. I'm so excited. Can you come? Those will be at King's Place. Would you be able to come through the aisle on a bike and then just sort of flip onto the stage like a somersault?
A little bit on fire, yeah.
Then I'll tell you what, the name of that show is going to be A Little Bit on Fire.
Yeah.
Esther, you can come back and co-host.
Amazing.
And we will do a little bit on... the show will be called A Little Bit on Fire. If there's no fire on the night, you can ask for your money back, because there will be a little bit of fire on the night. I don't care if I have to just light fire to a cake, a birthday cake. We will have fire. Sparklers? I don't know. We'll see.
A little bit on fire and there's just us with sparklers. Ooh.
Daz is going to show us a trick.
I love that you're called Daz as well.
Well, of course she is, though.
I know.
Daz Parker. I mean, she just sounds like something out of a Girls' Own Annual in 1955.
You're a female superhero. Daz Parker to the rescue. A little bit on fire, but she's going to make it through.
But more mid-20th century British. Like, Daz, I say Daz Parker.
Oh, right,
it's like, you know...
Enid Blyton.
Yeah, Daz Parker, a little bit on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. But more bunty, more like Girls' Own Adventure type stuff.
Okay.
No, Enid Blyton wouldn't have allowed...
No, she wouldn't have allowed women doing
anybody
that.
to be on fire.
No.
She would have put a fire out immediately and killed all drama.
Yeah.
Sorry, but it's only the truth, and I loved her when I was a child.
This is why you'll be cancelled for slagging off Enid Blyton.
I could do with the rest. Now, she's playing fast and loose now. There's a stunt artist in the house. I'm competing, as only a comedian can. How close, this is our stunt, how close can we get to being cancelled tonight without actually being cancelled? Which is always what a stunt person's doing, aren't they? A stunt artist is always like going, how close can I come to death without dying?
Yeah, how close can we get to being cancelled?
Yeah, I don't really want that. I enjoy not being cancelled.
Not with Christmas coming, I've got a lot to buy, so...
We are, of course, kidding. Nobody wants to be cancelled / would take it seriously. Now, I mean, it depends what you said, I suppose. Right. This is The Guilty Feminist, the podcast in which we explore our noble goals as 21st century feminists and the hypocrisies and insecurities which undermine them. That wasn't excellent. Just give us a cheer if you listen to The Guilty Feminist. Give us a cheer if you don't know what you're at. Yeah, it showed. Now... Just give us a cheer. I forgot to check this. At Soho Theatre, not the basement. Sometimes people think they were coming to a play because they've been to plays here before. Give us a cheer if you think you thought you were coming to a play. Yeah, so sorry. To compensate, we will do a short play. Yeah. Okay.
Called Daz Parker.
I would not dare. Okay, we'll do the kind of play that might be on at Soho Theatre. Okay.
Oh, we're doing it.
Yeah. I think I'll come in, actually. So I think more likely you'd be on your own at the top. Okay. Just it's because we're very short. Okay.
What's the play about?
Well, we don't know yet.
Okay. No.
Okay. But it's called The Guilty Feminist. So I mean.
Oh, okay. So guilty.
Yeah, we shouldn't be.
Oh, you're here. Again.
And I see you're here again.
I'm always here.
This is the 4th protest at which you have been arrested, Miss Button.
I'm waiting to be rescued by a certain Daz Parker.
Miss Button always looked at me with her deep green eyes. There was something about her, a tingle, a spark. I didn't know what it was, but I felt it coming over me. Oh. I realised, even as I said that to myself, it sounded sexual. I didn't mean it to. I didn't want it to. I fought it as hard as I could. But the thing is... if you're arrested at one more, you do understand that you are in serious danger of not being able to teach anymore.
I don't care. I feel really strongly about urban farming.
I read between the lines. She wanted me. Thank you. Scene. That's our play. Short play. Just if you did come for a play, I know it's disappointing not to get any sort of play at all. This is a podcast recording, so I can see how disappointed you would be, but also, on the upside, you don't have to sit through a fucking play. So, which you only really came to because you thought you should see a play. On the upside, This is really fun. Just give us a cheer if you came for a play, but now you're quite happy it's not a play. Yep, one person. Give us a cheer if you came for a play and you're a bit disappointed that still it is not a play. Nobody. So the rest of them are still thinking about it.
I think they've left.
They haven't left. They wouldn't dare. Not now. They've had Daz Parker for no extra money. Are you ready for some stand-up comedy? Then please welcome to the stage the incredible Esther Manito.
Oh, guys, listen, I'm going to have a real rant, to be honest with you. Give me a cheer if you're over 40. Some of you, all right, okay. The rest of you, that's annoyed me. I won't lie. But I'm 41, and by the way, I like the fact that none of you reacted to that in any way, shape, or form. You're just all like, "Oh, really? 41? Is that all? Fuck me, she's had a bad life." Well, I'm 41, and I was talking about it on stage, and there was a young girl in the front row, like 20, lovely, lovely young girl. But when I said I was 41, her genuine reaction, her genuine response to me saying I was 41 was to lean forward in her chair and just go, "Oh." Like I was a three-legged dog, just like, and I was like, no, let's talk about what happens when you get into your 40s, because no one talks about it, but things change. They change. Like, for all of you who are 40, right, you'll relate to this. For all of you who are under 40, you'll recognise this from your mum's house, because the second you turn 40, all of a sudden, your entire house is just covered with all those little inspirational, funny little quotes. They're everywhere. They're all over your cushions. They're on your tea towels. They're on your mugs. All those things that are there, like, live, laugh, love. They're all there to remind everyone that even though I'm over 40, I've still got a personality. And we don't even know what they mean. What do they even mean? Live, laugh, love. What does it mean? Live, all right, then laugh. At what? Love, whatever. And I did that in my 20s. All I got was chlamydia. Honestly, it's insane. A friend of mine on my 40th birthday, she gave me a cushion. And on it said, "Life is tough, but so are you." So, well, I'm clearly not fucking tough. I'm having a nervous breakdown on Guilty Feminist Friday night in front of 100 odd people, right? Another mate of mine, they gave me a mug. Good vibes only. Fuck off. I want cushions that say kill, crush, conquer. I want mugs that say it's all right to go to bed in your mascara, turn your knickers inside out, they'll last another day. That's what I want. I had one of my stand-up videos out on social media, and underneath it, a bloke, John, right? He went and wrote underneath my video, he went and wrote, "You are just an attention-seeking slag." That guy gets me. I want that on a cushion. I want that on a fucking tea towel. I want that hanging in my kitchen. Thank you very much. My God. By the way, I was doing this routine as part of my show when I was in Birmingham, and there was a couple in the front row, and when I said I want a mug that says it's okay to go to bed in your mascara and just turn your knickers inside out, they'll last another day, there was a couple in the front row, and the man turned round very audibly to his missus and just went, "That's you." No judgment. Put your fresh knickers on. I'm saying it's not hard, is it? But I think it's incredible, the things that no one talks to you about, like the menopause. That creeps up on you. Like the second you don't, it's all anyone wants to talk to you about is the menopause. It's insane. I went to my doctor's. He sat there. As soon as he sees my age, he just shouts over his shoulder, "It'll be the menopause." I'm like, "I'm here for me athlete's foot." He went, "Well, it's probably your perimenopause." I said, "What the fuck is perimenopause?" He said, "Perimenopause is the thing you are before you reach menopause." I said, "So you're giving us a label of the thing that we're going to be before we even reach the thing you want to label us as. By that logic, it means that when you're 40, you're perimenopause, or when you're 35, you're perimenopause, or when you're 30, you're perimenopause, which means when you're in your 20s, you're just too fucking spicy for a label." Which means, as women, we get a lot of labels and not a lot of medication. You can go to a doctor and be like, "I'm having hot flushes, I'm having cold sweats, right? I'm sleeping too much, I'm not sleeping enough, I'm constantly bloated, I'm having a headache." And the doctor will turn around to you and go, "Well, it'll probably either premenstrual, menstrual, postmenstrual, perimenopausal, menopausal, postmenopausal. But if you could just move out the way, madam, there's a man over there with erectile dysfunction who needs all my attention, medication and care. God, you're mad. And the memory loss, no one talks about that. Honestly, tell me I'm not alone. I spend 95% of my day, from the moment I drop my kids off at school, 95% of my day is spent stood in rooms upstairs in my own house just going, what did I come in here for? Whose children are they? What am I doing? And then you get told, well, that's a sign of the menopause. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. Because the moment I had children and I had to juggle kids, work and a house, I started forgetting shit. There is not a day I don't go down to the school gate and there'll be a mother at the school gate just there going, well, I worked a 40-hour week and then I had to drop the kids at the 27 different activities. And then I had to remember the 3 different PTA meetings. And then I had to remember to make cupcakes for the cupcake sale. But on Thursday, I completely forgot, £1 for little Johnny's red sock day. And Dave, he shouted to me off the sofa. He went, oh, Brenda, that'll be that menopause brain. And I'm like, is it though, Brenda? Is it the menopause? Or is it that Dave won't get off the fucking sofa and help out once in a while? Menopause or Dave, Brenda? Menopause or Dave? It's hard to tell. I'll be honest with you. And it all got too much for me. It did. I ended up going loopy. I ended up just turning up at my doctor's. I had a complete breakdown. I walked into the doctor's office and I was just there going, oh my God, I just feel like I'm going mad. I'm going insane. I'm angry all the time. I can't remember anything. My cushion keeps lying to me. And I don't feel good vibes only. And I feel like I'm going insane. So she leant forward. She put her hand on my knee. She went, I think you're a little bit stressed. What is it you do for a living? And I was like, I'm a comedian. She was like, oh my God, that's so exciting. Have you been on the telly? Have you met anyone famous? She then turned round and started Googling my name, right? I'm sat behind her, proper snot crying, mascara everywhere. She Googled my name and the first clip that came up was a clip that I did for Comedy Central, which was a routine about the time I caught my husband wanking in the shed. All right? He tried to defend himself by saying the only reason he wanks in the shed is because the shed reminds him of me, cold and wooden, right? Oh, he was seething. He was seething about that because that clip, it ended up going viral just in his workplace. Oh, he was seething. He came storming into the living room and he was like, I'm trying to maintain a professional image in my workplace and I have just been emailed 3 times by my work colleagues and CC'd as shed wanker. Mummy has to pay the bills. That's all I'm saying. So she sits there and watches this entire clip, right, which is a good 2-3 minute clip, and her reaction of her watching this clip is her just sat there going, mm. 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 She turns to me and she goes, okay, let's talk medication. So I left the doctor's surgery. My husband was waiting for me outside and I would come out and I'm like... And he was like, what did she say? And I was like... She doesn't think I'm very funny. He was like, is that her medical opinion? Just get up off the floor, we're in Sainsbury's. And I'm like, no, that's why we need people talking about this stuff, because it's you're not young anymore and you're not old. It's a weird period of your life to be in and things do change. Like, I did a Tough Mudder. Has anyone here done a Tough Mudder? One. I assume you work in a finance team, my darling. I assume that's why you did it, because when I did Tough Mudder, I had no idea what it was, and I did it with a group of comedians that were like well-known comedians, and we did it to raise money for charity. But when I turned up, there seemed to be a lot of like finance teams from different banks, all just dressed as Lara Croft, all just going, oh my God, Buckley's Finance. And I was just there in 12 sports bras, just going, just a lot more sexual than I thought it was going to be. But I agreed to do it because, we were raising money for charity, and all I knew was that Tough Mudder is some kind of, physical event. And I panicked. I was like, I'm 41, I've had a couple of kids, my pelvic floor is not what it once was. So I thought, I know what I'll do, right? I'll pop in a little tenor lady. Now, for those of you who don't know what a tenor lady is, it's a lovely little pad. You pop it in your knickers. Should you piss yourself, it absorbs. No one's none the wiser. Crisis averted. So I was like, whoo! But what nobody told me was is that Tough Mudders are very little running and a lot of being submerged in icy, muddy water. So within seconds of starting this Tough Mudder race, I was plunged waist deep in icy water, and my tenor lady just absorbed and absorbed and absorbed. So by the time I got out the first obstacle, my knickers were down by my knees. It was like I had a loaf of Hovis in my pants, right? And I didn't know what to do. So I turned around, and Shappy called Sandy. She turned around to me and she goes, just take your tenor lady out and throw it. I was like, I can't take my tenor lady out and throw it. I was like, people are taking photos of you lot because you're all celebrities. They don't need me in the background just lobbing a tenor lady into the next field. So I didn't know what to do. So I'm not proud of it. But I just rinsed it. But then I did the next obstacle and it reabsorbed, and then I had to rinse it again, and then it reabsorbed. And then the last obstacle of a Tough Mudder is something called the human pyramid. And the human pyramid is where you and your teammates have to stand on each other's shoulders and hoist each other over a wall. Now, because I'm tall, I was towards the bottom, stood on the shoulders of a male comedian who you all know, but he has not given me permission to use his name in this anecdote, and I'm stood on his shoulders and I'm hoisting up old Jess Fostergue over this wall, right? And as you know, she's fucking hench, right? And I'm pushing her up, and as I'm pushing her, my knees buckle and go down and down and down. So I ended up crutched to forehead with this male comedian, and my tenor lady compressed, and all the muddy water from my tenor lady just drizzled over his face. I feel like I created a new image of feminism, right? Do you remember that one from the wall, the one with the lady with her head wrapped up going, we can do it? Well, I've created a new image, just women tenor bagging men's heads. Just going, is this what we should do? Is this what you want? Now, I can't tell you who that man was, who that comedian was, but I can tell you that is why I will never, ever, ever be asked to go on Taskmaster. Thank you very much. Esther, Manito, everybody!
Hello, Guilty Feminists. This is Deborah. We are coming back to Australia and New Zealand in May, finally, for more incredible live shows. We start in Christchurch on the 11th of May. Then we're going to Auckland, Wellington, Adelaide, Perth, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and finally finishing in Canberra on the 28th of May. Every show will be different. There'll be live music from Grace Petrie at every single one. There'll be other comedians, incredible local guests, and some performance poets, as always. We cannot wait to see you there. For all the details and to book, go to guiltyfeminist.com and click on live shows. Book now because tickets are already selling fast. Now, Londoners and people who can get to London, I am emceeing an extremely urgent fundraiser for the NGO Medical Aid for Palestinians. The show is called Voices for Gaza, and it raises money for MAP, that's Medical Aid for Palestinians, who are sending doctors, medical equipment and medical supplies to Palestine, which, as you know, is absolutely urgently needed at the moment. It's at the Roundhouse on the 3rd of March, 7 p.m. Doors are 7 p.m. Show starts at 7:30. The ticket price is £20 and all the money goes to MAP. And none of the performers are being paid, of course, but the performers include, it's going to be an incredible night to come together in solidarity. The performers include Khalid Abdallah, Galia Benali, Bedouin Berger, Jen Brister, who you'll know from The Guilty Feminist, Brian Cox, who you'll know from Succession, among other things, Rob Delaney, Hani El Dakak of Massa Egbari, Inoa Elams, El Farsi, the Galilee Quartet, who are a Palestinian brothers and sister music quartet, Nish Kumar, Motaz Malhi, Sabrina Malfouz, David Morrissey, Alexi Murdoch, Michael Rosen, Alexi Sale, Juliet Stevenson, Harriet Walter, Samuel West, Susan Wakoma, and Imran Yusuf. Tickets are only £20, which for that lineup is an extraordinary thing. But we'll also be raising more money on the night. Please come, please spread the word. We will also put details of that on guiltyfeminist.com. We've also got more shows coming up at King's Place in London on the 25th of March, the 10th of April, the 12th of June and the 15th of July. Keep an eye on our website and our socials for news of guests and co-hosts. And we'll try and do some more around the UK this year as well, so keep an eye out for that. You can get ad-free episodes via Patreon, Apple Podcasts or Acast Plus. And if you're passing iTunes or Spotify and you felt like leaving us a 5-star review for any individual episode or the podcast in general, we'd love you forever. And now, back to the podcast. All right, you ready to meet our guest? Woo! Our guest today is a stand-up comedian and artist who's performed in 7 different countries across 4 continents. In 2022, she was a semi-finalist in both the BBC New Comedy Awards and One to Watch. Please welcome to the stage and to the mic, Kate Cheka.
Hi, you guys all right? Cool. It is so nice to wear makeup for a podcast. I tend not to wear makeup or even dress up in any way when I do stand-up, because stand-up usually involves dealing with a lot of straight men. And I like to give them the energy they give to the rest of the world. So, yes. It's been a bit of a weird time. I went on a protest last weekend, and for the first time in my life, I saw a police officer that I fancied. I was like, oh my God, new kink unlocked. Leave the body cam on. No, seriously, leave it on. We know what you guys are like. Yeah, it started quite deep. It's a weird time. I feel the weird time started right at the beginning of the summer when those billionaires drowned in that submarine. Do you guys remember that? Yeah, obviously we didn't care or anything, but... It was weird, though, because I had a friend of mine that did care, and I was like, how did you get in the friendship group? So weird. He was like, no, I just think it's so sad to think of them, miles down at the bottom of the ocean running out of oxygen. And I was like, I'm not sad. There's plenty of oxygen up here. I'm sure some will trickle down eventually. I didn't care. Yeah. And then there was the orca uprising. Do you guys remember that? Yeah, okay. So if you don't know, there was a group of orcas in the Mediterranean that were tipping yachts over. And it was a real relief, actually, because I thought I was going to have to do the revolution. And I was like, oh my God, it's fine. The orcas are on it. But I hope they have a Patreon. But the lead orca, the press nicknamed her White Gladys. And I was like, first of all, she's not white. No white woman would lead the revolution. That's insane. Have you met white women? Very self-involved. My mother's white. And secondly, she's an orca, so clearly she's biracial. That's how orcas work. Yeah. I did have some fun, though, this summer. I went on a hen party in Barcelona. Yeah. It was actually my friend Edna's hen party, and she's this queer black feminist that lives in Berlin, and there was a white guy called Tom from Dorset there. Yeah. I was like, you seem lost. And he showed up. He got really, really drunk. He started a fight in the queue for the nightclub, and then he shagged one of the hens. Oh my God, spoiler, it was me. Well done, Tom. Yeah, and then we were lying in the hotel next day, and he was like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get you breakfast. And he came back with a loaf of brioche and some chocolate milk. And I was like, I'm not a 10-year-old French boy. What's this breakfast? I'm dealing with this new phenomenon at the moment in my life where I'm only having sex now on holiday. Yeah, it's very expensive. I'm averaging a holiday per month. And I think it started last year when I went to Croatia alone. And I didn't want to go alone, so I put on my Instagram, anyone free wants to come with me on holiday to Croatia. And one man who I'd met once in real life at a Wetherspoons said yes. And I was like, oh, great, I've got a friend. And then as the holiday drew closer, I was like, oh, no, this man's going to murder me in Croatia. But good news, he missed his first flight, and the second he got deported for not having a valid passport. I was like, what is this, your first time murdering someone? Lame. Yeah, so then I was in Croatia alone, and I went to a local bar, and I met a local man, and he invited me to go on his boat with his captain. So I packed up all my stuff, and I went to get on the boat, and then I was like, wait a minute, what am I thinking? A whole-ass woman getting on a boat with 2 strange men. And my second thought was, what am I thinking? A black person getting on a boat. Historically, that doesn't end well for us. Okay, cool, just checking you guys knew about slavery. Weird. It's Black History Month last month. They have to do this. Just so you know. Speaking of slavery, because I haven't thought of a better segue. I've been thinking a lot about Meghan and Harry. How does the guilty feminist audience feel about Meghan and Harry? What are your vibes, Meghan and Harry wise? We love them. Said no one ever at a comedy show. Oh my God, so bold. Okay, we love them here. There's some people that just don't care. Yeah, a lot of don't cares. Anyone actively dislike them? Oh my God, that's so nice. Most people really hate them. I feel like most people in this country hate Meghan because they feel like somehow she came to the UK and she stole Harry from us. And to that, all I have to say is, yes, it's not nice to go to people's countries. Steal the people. Take them to America and profit a lot of money off them. What I'm saying is she beat the British at their own game is what happened there. Well done, Meghan. Speaking of America, I was recently in Texas. I was actually in Mexico, but I wanted to see a real third world fucked up country, so I went to Texas. And I don't know if you've been to Texas, but everywhere I go, there's these anti-abortion billboards that say things like, a baby's heart beats at 4 weeks, please don't abort it. And there was one that was like, a baby smiles in the womb at 8 weeks, please don't abort it. And I was like, well, if a baby smiles in a womb and no one sees it, did it really smile, you know? And I wanted to do comedy when I was in Texas, and my friend said to me, that's fine, but please don't talk about abortion on stage. We're very sensitive about it here. And it made sense, actually, because when I got pregnant when I was 20 living in London, I had an American housemate, and she offered to push me down the stairs. Yeah. And I was like, why would I give up one of my unlimited government-paid-for NHS abortions to let you push me down the stairs, Alison? But then I went to Texas, and I didn't follow my friend's advice, and I talked about abortion on stage, and the crowd in Texas really didn't like it, and I kind of got a bit angry with them, and I lost my temper, and I said something. I said to them, well, I guess you had to make abortion illegal here, otherwise where were you going to get all those school children you love to shoot so much? Yeah. No, they did not like it in Texas. The fastest I've ever had to leave a stage. My friend was like, very funny, but people have guns here. Let's go. You guys have been lovely. Thank you for having me.
Kate, that was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
It's wonderful, and it's the first time I've seen your stand-up live.
Yeah,
and I love it. I think you're fantastic.
Oh, thanks.
We're talking about milestones. Have you got any milestones in your life that, when you've come to them, you've thought, "Oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be," or now I feel like this imposition, like I'm 30, I've got to be on it now. And then like you've listened to sort of the kind of societal forces that have told you everything's got to be different because you've done this big thing. And have you questioned that? Or have you played into that? Like, where are you with your milestones?
I mean, obviously, you're younger than me. But I remember, like, as soon as I turned 30, it was... But I think it's different now as 10 years ago. Because when I turned 30, there was, like, a lot of, well, you need to have your shit together. Whereas now, people who are 30, they're like how we were when we were in our 20s now. I think people get a lot more time to... Is that controversial?
What, you think people take a longer time to...
No, I think they've just got more freedom now. There's less pressure to, like, you know, you've got to be fully grown up and sorted and set, and that's it forever now.
What were you doing at 30? What did you do at 30 that made you feel like, right, I'm getting my ducks in a row?
I had kids.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I had kids. I was married and had children.
Is the first baby a big watershed where you go, okay, I've got to look after someone else now? Someone in the audience is saying, yeah. Is that?
I mean, you shouldn't you? Think, yeah, I've got to look after someone now.
First, you have to have a good long cry at the fact that your life isn't just your own anymore.
Oh, there's someone in the audience saying you've got to have a good long cry that your life isn't just your own anymore.
Yeah, that tends to happen.
Do you regret having children?
Oh my God, no.
Oh, okay, no, you don't.
Are you the child?
Is that your mum?
Let's find out now.
Gosh, I'm really glad she said no, she didn't regret it, because that would have been... But did you know
you got to bring mum out on a Friday night because she'll pay for the wine.
Did you know she had a good long cry when you were born?
Well, not immediately, no.
Yeah, have you told your daughter this before?
3 days later.
3 days later. Has your mum ever told you she had a cry when you were born because life's no longer own? Well, this is time
like
to
family therapy.
This is like one of those stress nightmares that people have, isn't it? It's sort of like I was in the audience last night. My mum was saying, "I cried when you were born because my life." But look how lovely it is now because now you've got a grown-up companion to go out with.
We were actually very happy together before she was born.
You were very happy before you were born.
You can't see this, but the daughter just turned around to the mum and went,
No, I don't want her to shush at all. I want to give her a microphone.
We were so happy with each other, the doctors had to induce me.
You were so she was so happy in the womb. You had to be
inside
induced.
"Oh, you two were happy."
Oh, we thought you were talking about
yeah.
someone else.
I thought you meant you and the dad were like, "Oh, we were so
I got
happy,"
it.
and then she came along and fucked it all up.
But then when they got her out,
When they got around, yeah.
I feel like we're the first partner that's been brought home. You
Yeah.
brought us home and we're introducing us to your mum. And she's like, I was in labour for days with her.
Yeah, go on.
I did notice that they probably were right that it was time because her skin was very dry. But
What? Like the water had dripped out.
Does
No,
your
they come
skin
out
try the womb?
shriveled.
No, I'm loving it. Don't tell her to be quiet. This is wonderful. This is...
just that encouraged me.
She just what, sorry?
The thing about that was that we got baby oil, and every day she got a lovely massage.
She got a lovely massage from baby on.
Oh my God, can I just say you're such a lovely
What a
mum.
lovely mum. How many children do you have?
She had very, very big eyes. There's
She had very big eyes.
She still has.
It was sort of like she looked a bit like E.T.
She looked a bit like E.T. She looked a bit like E.T. Okay, all right. Well, listen,
See it, yeah.
that... She's more beautiful
she
now.
Is.
Yes.
Oh, she just said
She's
now
from-
she's the most beautiful thing in the world. She is the most beautiful thing in the world.
I'm delighted. Do you both live here, or are you on holidays?
No, I've been here for a long time, yeah.
You've been here for a long
She
time.
doesn't sound like me. She's proper British born, yeah.
Oh, okay. You born in Britain. Okay.
Came here, I warned her this was being recorded live and she should not speak.
Okay. So, if you're listening at home, her daughter just said, when I came here, I warned her this was being recorded live and she must not speak. However, she has not listened to you. And I think the feminist in her has come. She said, no, I'm not listening to anybody telling me to be quiet, even my daughter. No. Well, listen, I am glad that your milestone was such a successful one. How do you feel, Kate? What's a milestone that for you has changed your life?
That was 29. It was like seeing 30 coming up. But like I was not going to do the marriage kids thing. All my friends started getting married and having kids because I came from a small town and I ran away to Berlin. I sort of saw it coming on the horizon. I was like, fuck this for a laugh. And I went to Berlin and then I was having a great time. But then 29, I ended up in Nepal following a man.
Oh, following a man to Nepal,
Which is a bad
classic
idea.
of the late 20s.
A German man.
A classic of the genre, yes.
Yeah,
A German
so-
man.
Did he
followed
know
a German
you were
man to
following him, or were you
Yeah,
like ducking
no.
behind the letterboxes?
So he was like, Kate, what are you
Popping
doing here? No, we were dating and then he got a job in Nepal and I was like, I'll come to Nepal. And so I went and I was in Nepal and then he turned out to be an absolute fucking arsehole. And then I was trapped in Nepal for 2 months because I couldn't change my flight. I had no money. I spent my money going to Nepal.
Yeah.
So then I was sort of in Nepal.
Did you
Your
turn
life
it
is
into
so
an
cool.
eat? Did you turn it into an eat, pray, love moment?
Yes, basically, I was 29. I was in Nepal. Like this hadn't worked out, and it was like I had this moment. It was the monsoon season, and I left this bar the day before I was getting the flight back home, and the heavens opened, and it was raining down on me, and I was
Cleansing rain.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, if you can get through this, where like the person you thought you were going to love most in the world says like real horrible stuff to your face, then what could a room of strangers possibly do? But that was before I'd done stand-up, so
that's when you came
No, I
up-
know, they can do quite a lot of damage.
And then-
But then I was like, what could they do? And I was like, I'm
when
going to...
you were gigging to stag do's in Reading, you're like, oh no, actually, they can be.
you're quite... Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it
can
can
be
be
real
horrific.
horrible people.
Yeah.
But
at the time, what you told yourself
Self
was, it can't be worse than
it can't be
standing
worse
alone
than
in
this
Nepal in the
broken...
rain.
Yeah, this broken
Yeah.
heart. And so I went back to Berlin and I was like, I'm going to try doing stand-up. I was
And
like, I have to have a thing. I can't just
What
be...
a story.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, if you want to clap it, you can. Like,
Yeah.
no worries. Thank you.
Two of the worst things in my life instigated the guilty feminist and made me just go, fuck it. I am not going to lie down and take this, and I am going to be who I want and say what I want. And without some men who made my life very difficult in different ways, I won't go into the details, but I wouldn't have done this show. And I think those iconic moments in your life where somebody tries to push you down or keep you down can actually be your biggest breakthroughs if you let them. Like if it can either be, it depends on your personality and your life and how much trauma you've had and how much trauma upon trauma you've had. But it can be for some people at some times the very elastic that you think, oh, it's going to break. You think, no, I'm going to let it springboard me into where I should be. So I'm so glad that you did that.
Yeah.
And so when you turned 30, were you already doing stand-up?
So then I'd done stand-up for then 10 months or so, I guess, by that point. But it was like all my friends had kids and they were getting married and they had houses. They were like doing a thing and I was just the one floating around in Berlin, like living my best life. Like I was having a great time, but like I hadn't really got a job or like a career or anything.
But I was the opposite. I had like your normal life.
Yeah.
And then I had a baby and a 2-year-old and I started, I was like, I'm going to do stand-up.
Yeah.
But I did it in secret.
Yeah.
Did
Because
you?
no one would be okay with that.
What do you mean no one would be okay?
Well, you just, it's like, what you doing? So I was like creeping out and then I sat my husband down and was like, look, I've got something to tell you. And he was like, just say it. And I went, I've started doing stand-up comedy. And he was like, I genuinely thought you were going to tell me you were having an affair. And I was like, no. He was like, of all the things I expected you to say, that is not what I expected you to say.
Of course, because if you're sneaking out of the house at night and then sneaking back in, that's exactly what was going through my head. I thought, if you're like secretly doing stand-up comedy, you come back smelling of booze and cigarettes.
And also stand-up comedy gives you like that validation.
And doing the walk of shame.
That satisfaction. You come back really satisfied, like,
It gives you a glow. And I'll tell you, the time, if I do a really good stand-up comedy gig and I walk home, that is the time most likely that men will hit on me.
Yeah.
I was once standing at a bus stop and I'd done a charity gig and they'd given me a bottle of champagne as a present. And I was standing at this bus stop and a man came up to me, nice looking guy as well, and he just went, shall we drink that back at your place or back at mine?
Bold.
Yeah, it was really bold. And I gave him cred for, I wasn't going to go back with him, but I gave him...
But you did open the champagne and share it with him at the bus stop. You're like, we'll do it here.
I didn't. I said, but I let him have a try, but I knew I was wasting his time.
I had something very similar when I was coming back from a gig and I had a really shit-faced West Ham fan scream at me, can I put my number in your phone? And I said no, and he got really angry and went, the only reason I wanted to put my number in your phone is because I wanted to know if you fancy going Legoland.
That seems implausible. Legoland?
Yeah, he was so off his tits. And I was like, I don't want to go Legoland. Then he got really angry. He went, I'm so fed up with people slagging off Legoland. But you know what? I did that in my show. I told that story in my show, and there was a big group of West Ham fans in because they'd heard about it. And one of them said to me, I bet I know who that is. So I was like, so he's out there. He's offering to take women to Legoland.
West Ham fan. Takes people to Legoland.
Yeah, he was going, Legoland's actually really quaint, actually. Quaint! I mean, so really similar to the champagne story.
Yeah.
Do you have? You won't have heard this, but I've done it a couple of times. The Guilty Feminist Now, and I'm getting back feedback on how it's going. So my goddaughter loves when she looks very grown up, as lots of teenagers do now. And if a man is really sleazy with her hits on her, she loves turning around and going, I'm 13, which she is. And they go, oh, like that. Yeah. And so I've started using it. And it's really funny. It's really funny. Someone said something like, tasteless to me as I was walking up an escalator on the tube. And I went, I'm 13. And you see their confusion. And also like, well, I don't want to be a paedophile or anything, but also you don't look 13. And they're so thrown by it that they don't want to go, you're not 13, and run after you, because then they look like they're chasing, if anyone hears that, doesn't see me. Yeah. But also, you don't be chasing someone up an escalator on the tube being like, you don't look 13. Yeah. So other women have said it has worked for them as well.
Go the other way. Yeah. I'm 85, mate. 85.
But then you're such a hot 85-year-old.
No, they won't care. They'll love that even more.
No, but say that you're older anyway. I love it. I'm always like, I'm 50. And people are like, wow, you look good. And I'm like, thank you.
That's apparently what French women do. Yeah.
Is that what?
That's what French women do.
Oh, but French women. How we said fresh women.
No, French women. They say that they're a bit older, so people go, oh my God, you look amazing.
Oh my God, that's totally what you should do. Maybe not say 85, though. And also, I think with my accent, nothing can sound or look sophisticated. So
try I'm 13. I'm 13, and just
13.
see. But you
To
have
the West
to
Ham
be
fans on the way home, you want to go Legoland? I'm 13!
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, you're going to love it. You'll fit right in Legoland.
Yeah, I was going to say that feels like a more appropriate invitation in that case. I'd like to come and
13-year-olds would agree to go to Legoland.
Have you been to Legoland? No, of course you haven't. It's well shit.
Is it?
Yeah.
I have not been to Legoland.
Oh, have you been to Legoland? Yeah.
What? Such a Legoland heavy audience.
What? Why?
Why?
Surely,
Yeah.
surely you'd only
She
go
took
with
her
children.
big-eyed daughter.
On a
School
trip. Okay.
Fucking hell.
I feel like we've strayed off milestones, unless going to Legoland is a milestone. When was the first time you felt truly free, felt independent and free? Where you felt, because I think that's important for
Any
feminism.
day now.
When? What?
Well, the first time you left the house alone, or the first time you went out on your, you stayed out overnight on your own, or you left home, or when do you think you felt free? I think I felt free when I started traveling on my own, and I didn't have anyone to answer to, and it was a different time because it was sort of before mobiles were like, everyone wasn't like it's before smartphones was a different world because people didn't expect to hear from you all the time. So you could just leave the house and you weren't available till you came back. And that was
that
a
is
good...
good.
It was a
Isn't
really
it
good
good?
time.
Yeah.
And so you could just be like, leave the house for 8 hours. And if anyone wanted you, well, they couldn't get you. But more than that, they didn't expect to be able to get you. Because now people be in a panic. They'd be like, where were you? Why didn't you have your phone on? We needed you. Whereas in those days, it'd be like, oh, we wanted you, but you were unavailable and the technology's not been invented to keep you captive. And it was a great time, like a great time. And I used to travel, and you just have to meet people on the road and chat to them and make friends with them. And then when you left them, you could be soulmates. You'd never see them again because you changed addresses, but you were both like traveling on gap years and stuff. So as if you're going to fucking write to them, and they're not going to be at that address anyway. They're going to have moved on. Yeah. So I don't know any of them now.
Write to them. I don't know why that really made me laugh.
Yeah, because it was before social media. So you'd meet someone amazing and you've no idea who they are or where they are now, and you can't even remember their name. Yeah. These were better times.
Yeah.
Basically, you were just a free spirit wandering through life, forgetting people's names.
Yeah.
It's how I expect to be when I'm very old.
It's how life should be. Now we're expected to stay in touch with everyone.
Too many people.
Too many people.
I can't possibly... But I do. I am fascinated by what people are doing.
I'm quite lucky that no one wants to stay in touch with me, so it's...
That's not true. That's not true. When did you feel truly free? I think I felt truly free when I was on the road on my own, no expectations. Sometimes a bit scared, but truly free.
I've just recently started open water swimming, and that has given me... Open water, is that what it's called? Wild swimming?
Yeah.
Yeah. That has given me a bit of a lease of life. I like running. I like just going out and running. Sometimes I'll just run and run. I mean, you meet a lot of women as well on the roads. We're all just running, all just mums, just running. Yeah. And you're like, where are you running? I don't know. How long are you doing? Marathon. Just going to keep going. We're all like Forrest Gump, just heading.
Yeah. Just don't want to go home.
I
understand
but
that.
wild water swimming is so...
I get that.
Yeah.
I don't...
It just suddenly feels like you haven't got... anything, you're not listening to it, because when you run, I'll
just
put on
you in the water, and it's so cold.
Yeah.
Well, it's just so cold it shocks you out of thinking and worrying. I suppose it just puts you in the moment.
But then there's always some really lithe man who speeds past you, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, can't even. And I'm like plodding along.
It's got to be you in the water.
Got to be me in the water.
You in the shock of the
My
water.
mum loves a wild swim.
Does she?
Yeah, she's 76 in the river every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
God, she's amazing.
Kate, what's your free? Do you remember a milestone of true freedom? Because I think we can tap into it meditatively for feminism.
I think I always was quite free.
Yeah, I was about to say, you've always been free.
I've always been free because Judith, bless her, that's my mother, single mother, and she was old. Not like...
Born old.
She was a bit older.
She's always been old.
She had me at 42. She didn't have the energy. She couldn't chase me. So if I just ran down the street, I was gone.
Wow.
So
She's just there at the top of the street going, if it's meant to be...
Yeah, she'll come back.
If it's meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I bet you had big eyes as a baby as well.
Yeah.
Did she olive oil you up?
Huh? She what? Oil? She did. But I think because you're supposed to oil the black ones up. That sounds weird. But like, just dry. We have to have oil. So I was oiled up too. But
that's also an Arab thing. We oil the babies.
You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I don't sound like.
So as a child, you felt great deal of freedom. You could run around.
I was quite allowed to just go. She was like, just off you go. She didn't want to hang out with me.
She wasn't a helicopter parent.
No, I would say very hands off.
Yeah.
Actually, well, probably too hands off.
Well, I think it's because we don't talk about the honest truth, which is that kids can be really boring.
Yeah. I don't know if I should say this, let's say out loud. Maybe it's
really
fine.
boring.
She's not. No one's going to put her in prison now. But like 76. But like when I used to come home drunk when I was sort of like 16. Rather than being like, stop coming home drunk, she just put a bed in the garage. Because she was like, stop waking me up when you come home drunk.
Oh, wow.
So you have to sleep in the garage. So I slept in the garage for 2 years, pretty much.
And look how you turned out.
Great, fine.
You turned out great. I'm just going to put a bed in the garage.
Yeah.
Fuck all this
so I had
fucking
too much
Legoland.
freedom, yeah.
When's your feminist milestone? When did you feel like, fuck this
She was a massive feminist, so I thought we were all feminists. I didn't know it was I just thought we were because she had a downstairs toilet, still to this day, is full of like feminist postcards, you know, with quotes like, as a woman, I have no country. As a woman, my country's the whole world, you know?
Yeah.
So I had,
Live, love.
bit like cushion.
No, not that.
Bit like your cushions.
Live, laugh, love. No.
Bit my cushion.
Yeah, your cushions and mugs. Yeah.
Yeah, so she had all these feminist postcards, and I had boyfriends that were afraid to piss in the downstairs toilet because it was so intense, all these feminist postcards. So I thought we were all feminists, and then I was like, found out at like 12 that we weren't. I was like, what? Crazy.
I was the same. My parents raised, they were just like, no, we're feminists.
Yeah.
So you're a feminist.
Yeah.
So I just was like, okay. But then I grew up like in the 90s where it's just like, you're not a feminist, it's girl power, actually.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You're not allowed feminism.
Do you have an iconic feminist moment where you pushed back against something, or you, like, I protested at school about them taking our music classes away and got them to hire a music teacher because our music teacher was leaving and they weren't going to replace him. And we just did a sit-in, basically. We went to the headmaster's office and did a sit-in. And they said, for the class we wanted, they said, unless you can get 10 students together, it's not going to happen. And they didn't think we would because there was only 4 of us. And we went round campaigning and convincing other students that they wanted to do music. And there was a new boy, and we were all girls, and there was a new boy, and we told him that the class was going to be only girls, so he was going to have, like, you know, it wasn't a very feminist campaign, if I look back on that.
And you're like, this is my feminist.
We will all have sex with you.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Bring back
Do you
music
have tap dancing shoes?
So yeah, that was my feminist moment. And then always when I was a Jehovah's Witness, standing up to, you know, like pointing out unfeminist things in the Bible, pointing out feminist things in the Bible for my own arguments, sometimes answering questions in the Bible studies, not the way that I was meant to answer them, stealth feminism all the time as a Jehovah's Witness, and constantly until virtually, like, you know, I could have been kicked out for some of the things I did, but I was devout in other ways, so they kind of let it slide. But yeah, I can remember those milestone moments in my life where I stood up and said yes or stood up and said no. And the first one was school, where I realised, you can change things if you just refuse to go away.
I think the time that I felt probably the most feminist, I was, a little humble brag here, but I was the first female comedian to ever perform at Dubai Opera House. And I remember coming off stage and just seeing because Dubai is so multicultural, but just seeing women from every single walk of life. And there's me just slagging off husbands and kids. And it doesn't matter where you're from, there's just women there just going, yeah, and coming off. And then my husband, when I came off, he rang and he had my daughter on FaceTime and she just went, you're really cool.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, I just feel really bad that I've just slagged you off for it.
Yeah, Dave on the sofa is a universal thing. It's not always called Dave in different countries. It's called different things. Kate, have you got any moments that were like a feminist milestone where you went, fuck it, I'm standing up for myself here?
I don't know. I think it took me a while to find my voice, even though I was like free and I knew it. So I don't know if there was like a moment. I did protest at school, but like for the Iraq War. I don't know how feminist that
How
is.
Successful was that?
Really good, actually, yeah. In the town of Bradford-on-Avon, I think, the few of us that marched out of school. Really.
Listen,
Good for you.
Yeah, the important thing is I still think it really does matter, because I was looking at the stats on how many people marched in Iraq, and for Iraq, and it was like 1 million people came out into London for Iraq and all around the country. There were more than that.
Kylie Minogue, she was next to us in that protest.
Was she?
Yeah, with that. Who was the guy the really good-looking guy she was with? What was his name?
James
was he
Murdoch?
French? No, he was a French
Danny
guy.
Minogue. I don't know.
What's his name? Really good-looking actor.
Know.
I don't think that was the point of the march.
No.
I'm a feminist.
Kylie
but-
Minogue's boyfriend was at the Iraq March, and that's all I can remember.
Well, what I will say is you've just won the Funny Women award. So you've won the whole competition, which is a big championship. So that is a milestone.
Yes.
Do you have anything to plug, Kate?
Oh, just me.
Where can we follow you?
Kate Cheka, Instagram.
Cheka,
Yeah.
Kate Cheka Instagram. And Esther Manito, anything to plug?
Again, just me. My tour's going to be extended, so can you please come to that?
Come to see Esther
lot more
Manito's show.
ranting.
What's the show called?
Hell Hath No Fury.
Love
Hell
it.
Hath No Fury? And any other gigs you want us to come and see or anything you want us to do? Or just follow you on
Just
socials and
follow
we'll find
me.
out. Okay. So follow Kate Cheka and congratulations on winning Funny Women. That's
That's
really
amazing.
fantastic.
Well done.
Thank you very much to Esther Manito. Thank you very much to Kate Cheka. Big round of applause for Daz Parker. Thank you. I've been the Guilty Feminist, and we've been the Guilty Feminist. I've been Deborah Francis White. Thank you. Good night. You have been listening to the Guilty Feminist with me, Deborah Francis White, guest co-host Alison Spittle, and a very special guest, Lydia Pettit. The recording engineer was Chris Sharp. Music was by Mark Hodge. The producer was Tom Selinsky for the Spontaneity Shop. Thanks to Rachel Craftman, Gina Decio, Zainab Mohammed, and everyone at Soho Theatre, as well as all of you for listening. More information about this and other episodes visit guiltyfeminist.com. Dancing, and it's safe to get in touch with me. Come on the show, tap dance for us. Nothing bad's going to happen. This sounds terrible. Tom, cut all of that out. Just cut all of that
Anyone
out.
that has to say it's safe to contact me on the internet.
I just was trying to make it better and I made it so much worse. Can you please do it? I'm a feminist, but I'm desperate for you to do one. Do one. I'll do anything to do one.
I am a feminist, but I know.
The Guilty Feminist is provided exclusively from Acast. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.